G'day, it's Darren from Mr. Craftsmith and welcome back to the channel. Now today we're going to be diving into the world of diode lasers and I'm here to guide you through what to look out for before making that next purchase. So let's jump straight in. Now first up, let's talk about budget. Now I know the price tag is quite often the first thing we're going to look at, but there's a little bit more to it than that. You've really got to be thinking about the whole package, not just the machine itself, but all the goodies you might need to get you started. Let's say your budget to get started is $1,000. You don't want to be spending all of your budget on just the laser itself. Make sure you allow part of your budget for what you need to get started. Now, that might be things like an enclosure and say fume extraction and maybe a honeycomb bed if you're planning on doing lots of cutting. If you're wanting to do round objects, then you will need some sort of rotary attachment of some kind. Now in most cases you will need some sort of software to unlock the full potential of your laser, and Lightburn is probably the industry standard and a license for that is less than $100. Then if you start looking at materials, decent laser ply is not necessarily cheap, so maybe start with some cheaper Home Depot ply or MDF or similar offcuts until you've got a good grip of what you're doing. All of a sudden, the $1,000 budget doesn't seem to be stretching too far. Now onto materials you'll be working with. Whether it's wood, leather, acrylic glass or even some metals, make sure your new laser can handle what you can throw at it. And size really does matter here. So think about both the thickness and the overall dimensions of the materials that you're planning to use. It's all about making sure your creative ambitions aren't boxed in by the limitations of the machine's capabilities. Let's talk about laser power. Now, if you're mostly engraving, a lower power laser in maybe the 5 to 10 watt range might be just the ticket for you. But if you're planning to cut through materials, you'll want to be starting at that 10 watt all the way up to some incredible wattages that we're seeing now. Now, more power usually means faster cutting and engraving, plus the ability to handle thicker materials. But it also means there's generally a higher price tag attached to the machine. It's really all about finding that sweet spot that meets both your needs and your budget. Last but definitely not least, manufacturer support. Now trust me, having a responsive and helpful manufacturer can make all the difference, especially when you're just starting out. And good customer service and an active community and regular firmware software updates can turn a good laser engraving experience into a great one. So there you have it. Keep these key considerations in your toolbox when you're scouting for your next diode laser. It's all about getting the best bang for your buck while ensuring your creative needs are being met, both now and as you grow. It's been almost a year since I last dived into what's new and exciting in the world of diode lasers, so let's take a fresh look at the latest models and innovations from various manufacturers. Towards the end of this video, I'll be sharing an exclusive link to a spreadsheet that details nearly 100 different diode laser models, complete with specifications and website links. Trust me, this is going to save you a heap of time and frustration doing your own comparisons. It's all the information you need right at your fingertips to make the best choice for your needs. And remember, if you have any insights or questions, the comments section is all yours.
So let's break it down. This is the 2024 definitive diode laser comparison. Now, I did do a comparison video in 2023 and it's been almost about 12 months. So this time what we're doing is, rather than going through all of the ones that have been previously covered in that video, I'm just basically looking at what's new since that last video. So if you want to go back and have a look at that one, there's a bit more information with some of the lower power diode layers, desktop lasers and the like, but this is really more focused on what's been happening. So as you can see there, we've got a bunch of manufacturers that we're looking at. There's a couple more than last year, and I'm excited to share some of those with you. So let's jump in. Now, let's just, as a summary, what's really been happening in the last 12 months. And I guess that predominantly what I have been seeing across the board with a number of manufacturers is that there are a lot more pre-assembled machines now, which is fantastic for those that aren't necessarily that savvy when it comes to construction. So if you struggle with IKEA furniture, you may struggle with putting together some of these diode lasers. So having them pre-assembled will save you a lot of time and perhaps a lot of frustration as well. Now, clearly there's also been an increase in the power, so there are multiple diode units. And one manufacturer in particular, which I'm really excited to share a bit later, is now boasting a 70-watt diode laser. Now, that's the laser output, not the machine power. So 70 watts of diode laser power. I guess that's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens with that level of power in a diode laser. The next thing I've seen is that there are more manufacturers coming on board with desktop enclosed units. So they're an all-in-one unit, kind of like what you would expect to see with some of the bigger CO2 lasers. They're more fully featured so that they're ready to use out of the box and you really don't have to do anything. So again, just that peace of mind, knowing that you're going to have something that you can use pretty much straight away. And another couple of manufacturers are taking up the autofocus in that they have an adjustable or an automatic Z-axis. So without further ado, let's just jump into the manufacturers. They are alphabetically, starting off with ASMA. So these are the new units in relation to what we saw previously last year. And as I mentioned, I'm not going to cover all of the models. This is really just what's been happening in the last 12 months. And as you can see here, on the left-hand side, we've got the P2 range in both the 20 and the 10 watt. They are now pre-assembled models, so you can get started a whole lot quicker. They have X and Y axis linear rails. Now, a linear rail just basically means that it's a lot more sturdy and potentially has the ability to go a lot faster. So you should be able to, with the stepper motors and within these units, you should be able to get faster engraving and cutting speeds, which is exactly what they're offering. And they also have a 33-watt model that's available in the P2 range. They're really sort of focusing on improving the functionality and usability by being pre-assembled. And they still have a budget range as well, which on the right-hand side here, we can see the P1, the Pro 6-watt. Interesting that they would be releasing a 6-watt laser, but I guess for those that are purely interested in engraving work, the 6-watt laser should essentially give you a finer dot size, which will give you a much finer engraving capability. And they've also got the P1 in the 20-watt range at $799. Now, a lot of these prices that you will see, they're just the manufacturer's recommended retail price, and 9 times out of 10, they've always got a sale on. Now, this is not just across this manufacturer, but across all of the manufacturers. Moving on to Algo Laser. Now, these guys are new since the last review that I did, and Algo Laser, my understanding is that Justin Tran from Auteur has branched off and decided to make his own lasers, and under the brand Algo Laser. Now, there's some great innovations with the Algo Laser, and again, we're talking about the Alpha and Delta models. They're on the left-hand side there, the 22-watt. They're both a 22-watt, and they're pre-assembled, which is great. Got a Generation 2 COS optical technology, and basically what that means is that they can focus the laser dot into more of a square rather than the general rectangle shape that we would get from diode lasers. Now, what that actually means is it's theoretically designed to give you better cutting ability with lower power. They've also got on the Delta model, which is the top of the line, they have the integrated touchscreen for ease of use, and they've got a new kind of spring-loaded type laser focus system. So it just should make focusing the laser a whole lot easier. And that was the other thing I probably didn't mention, is that there's a lot more integrated air assist across a lot of the manufacturers now, and that can be used within Lightburn software, that you can control the air assist through that software system on a layer-by-layer basis, which is fantastic. Now, the Algo Laser do have the DIY models, which is kind of like your standard extrusion models that have the 5-watt and the 10-watt models. So if you're just getting started with laser engraving, they might be a good option for you just to try it out before you sort of start investing a whole lot more money. Next on the list here, we have Acer, and these are one of the manufacturers that have taken up the Z-axis autofocus. And that certainly gives you a potentially better workflow in that on a layer by layer level, if you're cutting, for example, with each completion of a cut, you can actually adjust the Z-axis to go down 1 millimeter or 2, which should actually give you a better finished cut. So that's something that's pretty exciting, and I'd love to be able to try out something like that one. But anyway, they've also got the linear rail on the X-axis and the touchscreen that we mentioned, so that gives you a bit more offline capability as well. And cable management, as you can see there, a very clean looking cable management structure and a lot of advancement, and also flow control on your air assist. You can see the little dial there on the air module on the left hand side with the dial, so that you can dial in the airflow that you're looking for. They also have a power failure resume. And so what that actually means is if you're doing an engraving and halfway through the engraving the power gets knocked out or something like that, you can resume that feature. So it will go back into the code that it's held within the internal memory, and it will resume your engrave from that point where it has actually lost the power. I haven't seen too many videos on that one trying out that feature, but certainly something that could be a feature that could be well worth the investment. Now, Atom Stack. Atom Stack have been going crazy. They're very innovative when it comes to the desktop diode laser marketplace. They have just introduced, and it's on pre-sale now, is my understanding, a 70-watt laser, diode laser. So again, that's the laser power, not the machine power. So this is the output power, 70 watts. I think it's 14 laser units, 14 little diode laser units, and whatever magic they're using to align those lasers. I would imagine that there's going to be some degradation of dot size when you've got trying to align 14 little lasers. So, expect that the dot size on that one might be a little bit bigger, but honestly, at 70 watts, it's going to be designed for cutting. So that's incredible to think that, within a short period of time, we've sort of come from that 5 and 10 watt lasers to, now we're looking at 70 watt diode lasers, which is quite incredible. Now, that is also the top of the line when the IKEA, and it's not like the furniture company, but the IKEA, I'm hoping that's how it's pronounced, the K1 Pro Max. It is a fully enclosed laser, and as you can see there, it's got good visibility with the laser protective perspex, I guess, and it's also got a built-in camera and autofocus system. So it's pretty much got the whole kit and caboodle, everything that you could probably want in a desktop diode laser. So be interesting to see how that one goes when it hits the market, and I'll be looking forward to seeing some reviews on that particular machine. Now, they also have the open desktop version in the 70 watt as well. In the Pro Max range, they have the 24, 48 watt and the 36 watt. So that's with the switchable power. So you can get the best of both worlds in that instance, where you can up the power to 48 watts when you want to do a whole bunch of cutting. But if you're looking for a bit more finer engraving, you can switch it back to a 24 watt, which basically just turns off half of the diode units within the machine, and it gives you the ability to do a much finer engraving. They've actually got 2 pages of updates since last year, so they've been busy. Now, the other thing here, we've got the X40 Max. Now, that has a maximum working area of 800 by 400. So normally what you would have to do there is buy an extension kit for your laser, but this comes as the larger model. So if you are working on bigger work pieces, then an 800 by 400 gives you a really sort of good option to consider, with again, that switchable power, 48, 24 watts. Now, the other range that they've got here is they're pre-assembled the X24 and the X12 Pro. Now, these are a one-piece metal chassis. So obviously they're going to come shipped like that. Now, with being a one-piece, that does obviously limit the ability to extend that in the future. But that being said, it also makes it a great machine. It's probably going to have a smaller workspace. I'd have to check the spreadsheet to find out what that workspace is. But certainly exciting that, again, there's just no assembly. So I guess the manufacturing process can be a lot better controlled in that the machine should be really square right out of the box if it's a one-piece chassis. Creality, in my experience, I know them predominantly for 3D printers. I've actually got one of their 3D printers, and they did introduce a range of laser engravers, and that's the Falcon series. They have released a Falcon 2 series, which is the 40 watt and the 22 watt. And they also do have some of the lower power models as well, the 12 and the 10 watt. So the Creality Falcon 2, that comes with the dual power options. So you can switch between a higher power for cutting and that lower power, as we mentioned previously, for finer engraving work. They do have integrated air assist, which works with light burn, which is awesome. And the Falcon 2 range is also pre-assembled. And on the reviews that I've looked at, there's some high praise for their cable management as being one of the best cable management systems in that sort of class of machine. So definitely they're starting to expand into that area. They're realizing that there's probably a bit of a crossover market with the 3D printers and the laser engraving community. So certainly great to sort of see a leap forward for Creality in releasing some of those when they have such a great name for 3D printers. Another manufacturer that is probably better known for their 3D printing is Elegoo, and they have a couple of pretty basic, really. They're pretty basic sort of designs, but they're based around that $600 and $400 mark. They're a very entry-level machine. They have this feature that on top of the X-axis there, which is an integrated smoke filter, and it comes with 6 of these filters. And looking at them, I guess in most cases, most users are going to be wanting to vent the smoke and fumes outside. And in the rare event that you're not going to do that, this might be a unit that might be suitable for you. But in all reality, I would think that it's probably more of a gimmick sort of type feature that locks you into more of a consumable product, because you're going to be constantly replacing those filters. So I guess that's perhaps a bit like the printer market, where the printers are cheap, but you pay through the nose for the ink. I'm not sure if that's going to be the case with these ones, but for me, it's just more of a gimmick than it is. I would much prefer to be venting this in an enclosure directly to outside. So it's not really going to present any sorts of issues if you're working with these machines inside. So we have Laserpecker, which is another manufacturer. What they do have here is one of the first in the market is a dual laser. So there's Laserpecker and one other manufacturer, which we'll talk about later, that have one of these dual lasers. I guess from that point of view, it gives you a bit more functionality and expands your material options. So they have both a 10 watt diode laser and a 2 watt infrared laser. And I guess they're a very small footprint looking at the machine. Having that material option, I guess, could be a good thing, and the portability. But it's also a small workspace. So I guess it's really going to limit your product options. But let's say, for example, if you wanted to take a machine to a craft fair or something like that as part of your kit, where you could do stuff on the spot, is that you could do things like coasters, as you can see in the image there. You could do little dog tags and those sorts of products that are quite small, but it has a galvo laser in the head as well. So a galvo laser uses a mirror to reflect the laser around, so there's no movement of the actual gantry other than up and down to give you focus, but you can actually get some quite extraordinary speeds out of that. So that being said, it might be a great little introduction for people, to see a working laser, and it gives you probably a bit more control over, space and things like that. So that might be a great little add-on to your kit if you are looking to enhance the material options that you might want to engrave. Okay, Longa. So they have a range of lasers, a a 20, a 30 and a 40 watt open desk type sort of lasers. They have a slightly bigger work area than the standard. So for most manufacturers in the desktop range, the standard workspace is like 400 by 400. This longer range, they give you the 450 by 440. So it definitely gives you a little bit more working space if you need it. Integrated air assist, so a very basic machine that requires, all of these machines require assembly, but certainly gives you some options there if you just want a little bit more workspace. And they're fairly competitively priced when it comes to the open desktop market. So the next manufacturer we're looking at here is the Niji. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correctly. And these guys have the notion of go big or go home. So they come standard at this size, so that's kind of like your 400 by 800, possibly a little bit bigger. I'll have the specs for that, and we'll talk about that later. But they have a much bigger working area, which is great. They have a X-axis linear rail for additional accuracy, speed, and stability. And on the Niji Max 4, they do have a motorized Z-axis as well. So that can be utilized when you're doing cutting over multiple passes, that you can lower the Z-axis as you're progressively cutting. So that could certainly help. So they do employ drag chain cable management in both of these models, and it's a great way to keep your cables organized and protected from potential damage. So if you're looking for a nice big laser and you do want something with that motorized Z-axis, it comes out of the box standard and a very good price. Omtech. Now, Omtech generally I would say are in the CO2 market, but they do have, it seems like they've only got one model available, which is this Omtech Lite B10. It's only a 10 watt, so it's really a very entry level type machine. They do have drag chain cable management. But having a very limited product range like this and only one model in that series in the desktop diode lasers could mean that there's potentially a very limited upgrade options down the track. Auteur, now that was the first laser that I bought, the Auteur Laser Master 3. And they, in all honesty, they really probably haven't done a whole lot since I bought my laser. They do have the 20 watt module now. And they have that in the LM3, the Laser Master 3, but they also have the Laser Master H10, which is a pre-assembled model. So if you're looking to get into a machine and you don't want to have to put it all together, then the H10 might be the way to go. Also has the integrated air assist, as we've discussed with a lot of other manufacturers. Rolly automation. Now, I've seen a fair bit about these models, and they're the same machine, but they come with either a 10, 20 or 30 watt laser module, and they're a fully enclosed machine. They have the built-in camera as well for alignment. They also come with the honeycomb and everything that you need with the enclosure. If safety is one of those things, and perhaps you've got small kids around or you've got pets or things like that, then having a fully enclosed unit might be the perfect way for you to go. Rolly Automation do a really good product, in my opinion, for the price. So it's a great price. It's almost like an open source type project in my opinion, but they do it really well. And the reviews that I've seen on the machines have been really quite positive as well. Okay, SculptFun, as I mentioned earlier, I do have one of their models as well. And the big movement, I guess, from SculptFun is the SFA9, and that's a pre-assembled model, and it's in a 40 watt laser, and it does have that dual power option as well. So you can either run it at 40 or 20 watts, integrated air assist. So that is a pretty interesting unit from my perspective. They've got the linear X rail as well. So that it looks like a very tidy unit, so it's something I wouldn't mind trying. Only having 10 watt lasers for myself, getting something in that 40 watt range would be ideal. Now they also have the Ultra range, which is they also have a 33, 22 and 11 watt unit, and that's like a DIY put together aluminum extruded series, but they come with a much different work area. They have a 600 by 600, so it gives you a very generous workspace, but in saying that, it's a bigger footprint as well. So you're going to need a little bit more space. If you're looking for something with that bigger work area, that could definitely work for you. So Sculpfun have also introduced the iCube series, which is a portable laser. It has quite a small footprint and it's quite a lightweight little unit, and I guess it's really designed as an engraving unit. There's no built-in air assist or anything like that, so it's perfect for that scenario where you might just want that portable engraver to take along to a market stall or something like that to help attract attention to what you might be having on display. If people see a working laser, then it's something that might stop them in their tracks and go, oh, I wonder what's going on over there. So that could be a great little option for you to take along to craft fairs and things of that nature. Or perhaps if you're just brand new to the whole sort of laser engraving scene and you just want this portable little unit that's not going to take up a lot of space, the iCube series could be something that may be of benefit to you. WeCreate. Now, I've heard a lot about WeCreate as well. So these are a fully assembled and enclosed unit. And again, they've got everything that you need: integrated camera, integrated air assist. They've got an auto lift laser bed. So something that's a little bit different, I guess, from the other models is that the laser bed is what's actually moving rather than the laser head itself. So I'll pop some links to some reviews for that in the spreadsheet that I have available at the end. So if you want to find out more about that one, just hang around and we'll get that information to you. So certainly it's it's in the upper realms of the price range, at $1,700. But again, that's just the manufacturer's recommended retail price. They will always be having sales on those, so keep your eyes open for that one. But certainly, I'm seeing a lot of good things about WeCreate with this unit. Now, again, it is only one unit. So that's the only model that they have available. But so I guess there's an air of caution in that regard, and as far as how much support they can offer you, what are the upgrade options, and that sort of thing. So I guess that's just something else to consider when they don't have a whole lot of products in their range. But certainly this looks like a very, very promising unit from what I have seen. And finally, Xtools. Now, Xtools have kind of been the big name in desktop diode laser for quite a while now. And, they continue to evolve. And they've brought out the Xtool S1, which is a fully enclosed laser. It's a 40-watt model. And, again, all of the, as you might expect, it's got the integrated air assist. You've got the camera positioning system as well. But as you can see from the price there, it's a premium product. So Xtools have kind of got themselves in that premium range when it comes to desktop diode lasers, but they do have a bunch of other lasers as well. But we've covered that in the previous video. So that I'm only showing what they've innovated over the last sort of 12 months. They also have the F1, which similar to the LaserPecker is that dual laser. So with the diode and infrared. And again, it's a similarly spec'd unit at 10-watt blue diode and the 2-watt infrared. So again, having that unit, it's something that I guess could attract some attention at craft fairs and things like that to enhance, and plus it also enhances your ability to do things like your metals and the stuff that an infrared diode laser can actually engrave as well, particularly things like dog tags and key rings and all that sort of stuff. And it's a Galvo unit as well, so incredibly fast speeds when it comes to laser engraving speeds. It's definitely a great little portable looking unit. I've seen some so-so reviews. They do have a unit that it's like a pass-through unit that can extend the work surface as well, which might be good for doing multiple coasters or multiple small items that you want to engrave. But yes, Xtools have definitely been one of the movers, one of the prominent players in that desktop diode laser market for a while now, and they continue to do so.
Rightio, there's a lot of information to process there, I know, and it's taken me a long time to put all that information together for you. So I've popped a link down in the description, and that link will give you access to the spreadsheet that I've been talking about throughout the presentation. It's an awesome resource for you, and I know it's going to save you a heap of time and a bunch of frustration. We've got all the links in there for the manufacturers' websites. I've also included some links where applicable for some reviews on the particular machines that we've listed in there as well. So there's a heap of information in there. Pop down in the description and grab that link and have fun with that resource. Okay, until the next video, be creative and stay grateful. Bye for now.